today?
Good.
How are we doing today?
I'm doing well.
Fire up, Jerry.
I'm fired up. Let's do it.
All right, so you guys missed two. You missed a great Saturday at Acrisure Stadium. The kids went out and competed. I love how they compete. You know, they play together, take care of their business. You know, 2 weeks ago, the defense came out with the win, and the offense went out and got a 57-43 victory. 57-43, and like I told them last week, there was one turnover in the entire game, and I'm going to say 104 plays with the ones and twos, and so about 55 plays with the ones and twos apiece, and we got like 28 with the three. So we're getting a lot of good work with three groups working, but one turnover in the entire scrimmage, and you know, anytime you do that, you eliminate those in that many plays. You know, 100 and whatever, 135 plays or so. You know, not counting special teams, you know, you got a chance to win the game. So, so the offense came out with the victory, some nice plays, threw the ball well, and protected the ball. So that was, made a head coach happy. I can tell you that. It makes me have a better Sunday than if we don't take care of business. So I was happy with the guy, the way the guys played. You know, Deuce Spann had some nice plays. I think we ran the ball solid. There was some, Zion had a nice catch down the middle. Deuce had a nice touchdown catch. There's some good plays made overall offensively. Wasn't like things were wide open, but just guys made plays. And then, fast forward to today's practice, a lot of competition today. Had some good scenarios, and and again, defense played really well. I think defense had 3 or 4 interceptions in Skelly today. And when I say the first scrimmage, they were giveaways by the offense. Today, what we saw, and I think Bates got after him a little bit, there was more takeaways today. I mean, they were like, I think Rashawn Murray started off with a one-handed interception. It was like they were takeaways, like big-time plays made today by the defense. So we had a little bit of what we call red zone lockout period, where it's a scoring system. You got to win by 8 either side of the ball. If offense scores a touchdown, obviously it's 7-0. If the defense gets an interception in the red zone, it's 7-0 defense. They take those 7 points that offensively we didn't get. So defense won that battle today, and then we had a 4-minute, 2-minute, but good competition, good teaching. Questions?
What's Mason Heinschel shown you as a freshman?
Mason's been really good. Again, getting mostly reps against the threes, but he got some 2 snaps Saturday as well, just to rotate those guys in and just get them looks with different receivers, different offensive line. But Mason's done as good a job as you can as a freshman quarterback right now.
With him, the way he can run, Julian has shown he can run. Eli can get out and move.
Julian had a 69-yard zone read keep for a touchdown too. I forgot that. That was Saturday, so it was a heck of a play by Julian.
So you have all these guys you can run. Is this one of the more athletic quarterback rooms you've had? I mean,
yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's no doubt about it that our quarterbacks can run. And obviously you guys know Eli can run. So those are 3 athletic guys that can win with their feet in the pocket and also create in the run game.
And obviously Deuce has had a lot of experience. What has he brought to that room, and how have you seen that kind of play over the few days?
A lot of the receivers are doing a nice job in there. Blue, Terry's done a nice job as well. But Deuce is such a big guy. And last week we focused on Tuesday and Thursday last week of just we worked more deep ball drills. We were kind of a little disappointed. Not real disappointed, but just wanted to see those guys go make plays on the ball. And so we coached up on Tuesday and Thursday, and it's amazing when you focus on the little things. But he just went up in the end zone and high pointed the ball and kept it up there. I mean, defense, I don't think they could jump up and knock the ball out of his hands. It was a great play. But Deuce has done a nice job for us. He's learning the offense. He can run. He can separate, and again, he can catch the ball in the deep part of the field.
How do you feel about the receiver room as a whole right now?
As a whole, I feel better than I did last year. I mean, and that's with C.J. Lee not going and Poppy not going. I think it's a good group right now that's competing every day. Find out who are those top 6 guys going to be, who are those 6 starters at receiver. I think that's the competition that's going on right now.
Is there a sense with Deuce, and I know you've only been with him for a little bit of time, that this is it? Like there's a intensity or that type of attitude that he brings daily?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. He just always, he's always got a smile on his face. He always comes to work. He doesn't say much. I mean, he's not one of those guys where you're seeing that he knows it's his last hurrah. because he doesn't act like that. He just goes out every day, what's up, coach, and goes to work.
Other than minimizing the turnovers, what were some other improvements you saw on Saturday?
You know, just execution. I mean, I just thought, you know, the offense went out and executed, and the defense did some great things as well. It's hard when quarterbacks aren't live, and you're not hitting them, and they're yelling for sacks, and it's not a sack. But, you know, just the execution of the plays and making sure you're in the right spot, and quarterbacks taking care of the ball. I mean, it wasn't like there was, you know, like I said, the only interception was a tip ball, and, you know, and again, it was a heck of an interception. And we made the tackle, too. We made the tackle on offense, so they put the defense back on the field. They didn't bring their field goal team out.
You seem very optimistic and enthusiastic the whole spring you have. I was just wondering, are you fearful maybe getting too optimistic because it's only
We got a
spring ball?
long way to go, Jerry, so I'm just giving you the highlights. I didn't give you any lowlights. But we got a long way to go, you know. We always do. I mean, I'm gonna say that in mid-August, you know, we still have a long way to go. But I like the way our guys are working. They're trying to improve every day, get 3% better. And, you know, one thing that's a weakness one day, to come out the next day, it becomes a strength. That's our job as coaches, to get the best out of our guys and go. So I'm a positive guy. I'm optimistic, but there's, you know, I won't be as optimistic when I get into the offense. Talk about those turnovers today and give away. And actually, today were takeaways, like I said, but we got to protect the ball.
What do you see differently about the defense from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2?
From scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, and again, you know, it's not like the defense got worse, but you know, we've added more stuff. We've got, you know, more install going in. So I think they're doing a good job picking up some of the new stuff we're doing, some of the tweakings that we've made defensively to make us better throughout the season. And you know, I think overall, you know, there's always good and bad out of every day. But you know, I don't think based on the scrimmage that the defense got any worse. Put it that way. But they just keep, you know, plugging away. And I really like how our team's working together. I mean, today we're all thud. There's no live. You know, we went, you know, live whatever 140 snaps on Saturday, but they took care of each other today, which is a mark of a selfless team.
You mentioned Julian's run, that 69-yarder in the scrimmage. He must have been pretty wide open, pretty by himself.
He actually wasn't really wide open. You know, he made a couple guys miss, and he just couldn't run. I mean, even it doesn't look like he's running that fast at times, but he's got those long strides, and he glides. He glides. He can go.
So how much leeway do you give your quarterbacks, given how much they like to run in this time of year, to get out in space?
We're gonna let him run. I mean, there's been some good quarterback gains, and the other thing the quarterbacks did a great job at, I wasn't happy with them in the first scrimmage, is when they did take off on a scramble, let's just say, and took off to gain yards. The first scrimmage they were running, and then they start to slow down when they got near. Like I was like, sprint, I'm going to give you more yards. So that was the thing. They took off going all the way to the end. The guys are going to stay off them, get as many yards as you can, and you know, we're going to run the quarterbacks. Defense just knows they can't hit them. You know, disadvantage defense, but you know, we want to get the quarterback runs in. We want them to scramble. We want them to fight for yards.
Is that anything you've talked to Eli about? You know, maybe being smart with his runs.
Yes.
And not being sure.
Yeah, I just watched 38 scrambles with him. Matter of fact, I don't know what day it was, last Friday or Thursday, just talking about scrambles. Do you know what he averaged per scramble last year? I think it was 38. He averaged 8.53 yards per scramble. And I'm like, it's a good play. Like, just because you can't throw it, and you know, again, I think that was part of the message is, you know, don't think you have to throw it every time. If it's not there, hey, tuck it and go. But he averaged last year 8.53 yards per rush. To me, that's impressive. That's pretty darn good. And those are good plays. I want to make sure, you know, I emphasize that. Coach Bell's emphasized that it's a good play just because you can't throw it. Be smart with the ball, and we saw a lot of that Saturday too.
Is there danger of those guys taking off too soon because they know they're athletic and they can make guys miss?
No, you know, Coach Bell does a great job of, you know, letting them go through the progressions and just be smart with the ball. If there's pressure and you feel like you can't get it off, then get out.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be pressure, but that's why it's so important to have a quarterback that can make plays with his feet. You know, the protection's not going to be perfect all the time. I think that's what we lacked near the end of the year last year, is we couldn't, we couldn't create in the pocket and make something happen, and you're taking sacks, negative plays, put you behind the sticks.
Where is Nate Temple in terms of his progress, and is he a guy that you could maybe see as a starter at the end?
You know, Nate's continuing to work. I don't think Nate's 100% yesterday, or you know, right now still. I mean, coming off the ACL, you know, I had one back in 1985. I don't think it was ever the same since my freshman year. So it takes time, but he's working his tail off every day. He's positive. He's a leader, and he's done a nice job.
CJ and Poppy be available in the spring at all?
I don't think so, which is okay.
What do you
do you need to see from your linebackers? How can they still improve upon what they did last year?
Well, you know, it's maintaining and getting better, and they got to continue to strive for greatness. And Kyle Lewis, you see it every day. I mean, Kyle Lewis comes to work, and you know, I see Lovelace playing really good football. They just got to continue to learn defense. The important thing at that position is really those backups. Like, you know, Cam Lindsey's really having a heck of a straight. He's getting as many reps in as he can. He's taking advantage of. He's taking care of his body. You know, when you don't take care of your body, sometimes you're not getting those reps. You're losing them because you're banged up and can't go for a day. As physical football is. So, you know, I'm happy with where Cam Lindsey is as a freshman, redshirt freshman. I think he redshirted. I think he only played 4 games last year. So he's a young guy that continues to learn the defense. So with him and Jeremiah Marshall's doing a really nice job. You know, Bruton is getting better every day. He's made major strides. So we've got to build that depth and then keep those great ones where they are.
We've talked with some of the offensive linemen about how they're really taking the end of last year personally, bringing that intensity into practice. Have you seen that from those guys?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to, you know, measure that with a ruler or measuring tape or measuring cup, but you know, there's consistency in their work. I mean, I think the protection was pretty good Saturday, at least with the ones. I mean, I think Percy, Keith, Stanley are 3 offensive line transfers that have come in and done a nice job adding to that, and we're getting some good work. I mean, BJ and Bear continue to get better. Bear had a great day. BJ had a really good day. You know, pass protected and run blocking. So I'm happy with where those guys are on the front. And we got a ways to go though, Jerry.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Do you-
don't have many. You got a ways to go. You're like legend.
Do you have any thoughts about a couple NFL coaches joining the ACC?
Say it again now.
Do you have any thoughts about a couple NFL coaches joining the ACC?
Talk about Coach Wright.
Right, and
Stanford.
Belichick.
And Belichick. You know, I think, you know, the ACC is a great conference. I think when you add Bill Belichick, how many Super Bowl rings does he have? 7? I mean, you talk about bringing a Super Bowl champion. I can't wait to go down to Amelia Island and hang out with Bill Belichick. Maybe I can get a picture with him. I mean, you talk about legend. And then for Coach Wright, I don't know him, but you know, congratulations to him. I think he's got 1 year. He's coming in to take over that program, and I guess Andrew Luck just hired him. So it's impressive. Again, you know, great football coaches will add to the conference.
Anything else?
All right.